Good evening.
Good evening, Father.
This Sunday, like Deacon Dennis said, is Gaudete Sunday from the Latin Gaudete, which means rejoice, and is taken from St. Paul's letter to the Philippians, chapter 4, at verse 4. Gaudete Sunday marks the liturgical halfway point of Advent, and the church rejoices because Jesus' coming is near. So the church asks us to rejoice, but the question is, do we feel that way? How can we really rejoice this Sunday despite all the challenges that face us personally and in the wider culture? The call to rejoice may seem a little hollow. We are facing so many challenges on a personal and public level. There are financial stresses, inflation, health problems, deadlines at work, dysfunctional relationships with family members. On a wider culture or wider perspective, there are widespread attacks, political setbacks, the new COVID variant Omicron that is troubling many of us, racial tension, we still hear of vandalism, lawlessness in some parts of the country, various forms of persecution from the annoying to the lethal, lack of trust in church leadership, a general hostility towards religion, and particularly Catholicism, and worldwide contracting economy. So in the midst of this, how do we rejoice? It's healthy to remind ourselves that the good news is not that Jesus came to give us an upper-class lifestyle with a two-stall garage, 3 kids, and a house in the suburbs for the duration of our lifetime. One cannot find any such articulation of the gospel in the New Testament. Instead, one finds expressions like, if any man would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Luke's Gospel, chapter 9, at verse 23. Or, in this world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. John's Gospel, chapter 16, at verse 33. We need to keep reminding ourselves that the good news is not a plan for temporal comfort in this life only, because it is our tendency to revert to thinking that it is. And when we look around and see that things are not comfortable, even after 2,000 years, we mistakenly think that the good news has not worked. The good news is about eternal life with God through Jesus Christ, which starts now, but won't be directly seen until the life in the world to come. The good news really is about heaven and what lies beyond the grave. Temporal comfort is not the answer to our deepest needs. Even if Jesus were to give everyone who believes in him total economic and political stability for the duration of our temporal lives, it would not satisfy the longing of the human heart, which is made for so much more. People sometimes warn of being too heavenly minded to be any earthly good. Brothers and sisters, that is not biblical. On the contrary, one has to be heavenly minded to be any earthly good, because only the heavenly minded have the joy and courage to endure the sacrifices necessary to make substantial contributions to the earthly good. The exhortation to rejoice in the first 2 readings and Psalm are not based on external reality, but on interior and eternal reality. That Christ has come and taken up residence in our hearts, giving us communion with God even now and in the life to come. This is truly good news. The gospel reading can be seen as an application of that good news. Share your food and your clothes with the poor, the Baptist tells the people. Be content with your proper wages, he tells the tax collectors and soldiers. Such are the actions of the people who are not living for this life. If this life were all there was, the logical thing to do would be to hoard your food and your clothes and strive to make money any way possible. What permits this joyful lifestyle of sharing and contentment is the confidence that we are headed for an eternal reward that makes temporal wealth seem insignificant in comparison. As St. Paul says, I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us. Romans chapter 8 at verse 18. This Gaudete Sunday gives you and I the opportunity to remind ourselves what the gospel is really about, why we should be people of joy, and how to live the generous lifestyle of people who aren't living for the here and now.